Bismillah.
What is up, guys? GT Solid here. You read the title. I'm not going to waste your time. Let's get right into it. So the first PlayStation VR was released October 13th, 2016. Their goal initially was to sell 1 million units in 6 months. They sold close to that at 900,000 units in just 4 months. At a year, they're already at 2 million units sold. They sold a lot more than they expected, so you gotta assume they're gonna be working on a second one. Rumors about PlayStation VR 2 first started showing up just 2 years after the release of the first console. In January 2018, when patents for a VR controller leaked, this patent showed the haptic triggers we can now see in action in the Dual 5Sense controller. Keep in mind that patents aren't confirmation of products. Many patents get published that either see really big changes or never get made at all. This patent just lets us know that they are working on a second VR. We didn't have another leak in 2018 until the very end of the year in November, when Ruthnik Cookie, who's a Reddit user known for leaking Sony's announcement to not appear at E3 2019, and more recently leaking the price of the PlayStation 5 and being correct about both. But this leak did not have a lot of details. Only that the PlayStation VR 2 wouldn't have a breaker box. He also said that there would be a camera on the DualSense 5, which we now know that that particular rumor was not true. He said that the PlayStation Move, they're working on new PlayStation Move controllers, which we know from the leaks just a few months before this. And he said they're also testing some gloves to go with the VR, which I think you'll see later. He was actually talking about that new Move controller. Now in May of 2019, we got our first big confirmation that they were working on the VR 2. When VentureBeat did an interview with Dominic Mallinson, who is Senior Vice President of Research and Development at Sony, who confirmed that work on the PlayStation VR 2 was underway in a presentation. In this presentation, he focused on 5 main areas they were looking to improve in the VR 2. The first thing he talked about was resolution. Mallinson explained, this is more pixels per degree. It's about the sharpness and the clarity of the display. You have to be able to match what people expect to see today in high definition. I would expect the resolution to roughly double in the next set of VR products. The second thing he talked about was the field of view. He said, quote, along with that, we need a greater field of view. He continued, the human visual system is out to about 180 degrees. Most VR headsets today are about 100 degrees. There are diminishing returns to get wider, but I would expect the next set of products to be roughly 120 degrees in terms of field of view. And finally, HDR. In the TV industry, HDR is already incredibly important in creating the best experiences. The human eye sees an enormous range of light, from bright sunlight to deep shadows. Today's VR panels only capture a tiny fraction of that. So in order to increase a sense of presence, I do expect to see HDR adopted in the near future. The third thing Mallinson talked about was going wireless. He said, quote, user comfort is incredibly important. In order to widen the adoption of virtual reality, Mallinson emphasized there are many aspects to user comfort. I'm just going to touch on one here, and that is the cable. Being tethered to this cable is inconvenient, and it's not just about getting tangled up in the cable. It's not just about the restriction in your motion. It's also about how you set things up. How can you configure your system? Where do you store it? Let's face it, having a mess of cables in your living space is just not attractive. So this is something that we have to solve in order to get wider adoption. The fourth thing he talked about was gaze tracking. He said, quote, so what do I mean by gaze tracking? I mean the technology to understand where you're looking in this virtual world. What is your attention point? And then to top off that, we can then layer extra things. We can understand perhaps your attention by measuring pupil dilation. We can do biometrics to understand who you are looking at, and we can measure your IPD, interpupillary distance, the distance between your pupils. This is very important to VR because it allows us to accurately set up the optics and rendering to give you maximum comfort and to really get the correct sense of distance and scale in VR. So fundamentally, with this technology, we know what you're looking at in VR, and this allows for countless user interface and user experience possibilities. Now, the last thing he talked about was Fovea Rendering. I hope I'm pronouncing that word right. He says, quote, more pixels need more rendering performance. Mallinson explained, if you just brute force it, it requires a lot of extra rendering performance. The human eye has a part in the retina called the fovea, which is responsible for our super sharp vision. We don't see very much in the peripheral vision, so we can match our rendering performance to the fovea. We can deliver high effective resolution and also better quality images, so gaze tracking is a win-win in this respect. Then in October of 2019, another patent leaked showing a wireless headset. Instead of tracking using lights, it uses cameras on the outside of the headset to track the environment around the user, much more like the Oculus Quest works. Then, in April of 2020, that's when we got our most exciting news as far as information or rumors about the PlayStation VR 2. It came on a very boring website called the Association for Computing Machinery, with a very boring title called The Evaluation of Machine Learning Techniques for Hand Pose Estimation on Handheld Device with Proximity Sensor. But the video was very exciting. I've downloaded the video from the website, and you may have seen this already by now. But what the video shows is a controller that tracks the fingers and the position of the fingers with a lot of accuracy. The guy wiggles his thumb, he opens and closes his hand, he holds up the peace sign, 3 fingers, and it's able to track him pretty accurately. They show a lot of footage of it being tested. It looks like he has some kind of mocap dots on his finger, the same type of dots you see on a mocap suit. I believe this is just for development, because in other tests you see him using the controller without the mocap dots on his finger. And there's, as you can see here, there's the open close, the trumpet, blend, 1, 2, 3, 4, all different types of tests they're running. He's also able to, with these controllers, manipulate objects in the VR world. So you see him here playing with blocks. He's able to stack them pretty accurately and really manipulate things like you would in the real world. This demo shows him manipulating all kinds of objects, the blocks, as well as a wooden dummy. So this could be used for, I don't know, ASL, if it's accurate enough, American Sign Language, or any other kind of sign language. It's not perfect. As you can see, they show off in one part of the video where he's not able to cross his fingers or do the Star Trek sign, whatever that's called. Also, when he puts his fingers together, his thumb and his index, it doesn't really touch. So they still got a little bit of work to do, but it's very impressive what they've been able to do so far. Just from what I see now, I'd be excited to play with that. They even tested it with jewelry on, like watches and rings. So if you're someone who has a ring or any kind of jewelry on, you don't even have to take that off to use this controller. You could just pick it up and start playing. It doesn't disrupt whatever the technology is that they're using. If you want to see the full demo for this video, I'll leave a link for it in the description. I'll leave a link for it to the original website with the boring name of Evaluation of Machine Learning Technique for Hand Pose Estimation of Handheld Device with Proximity Sensor. So go ahead and check that out if you guys want to see that. But I'm sure they're going to perfect this and get this working properly by the time the full release comes out, which is years down the road, so they have lots of time to get this right. In August of 2020, a PSVR 2 headset appears to be in the works for PlayStation 5, according to a leaked job listing. This job listing was spotted by Upload VR. The recent job listing from Sony Corporation Japan states, quote, "You will be in charge of the development and design work for the housing and barrel of the next generation VR head-mounted display." On top of that, the job listing says that the job is to, quote, "develop a mechanism for a VR head-mounted display with a view to 5 years from now," which suggests that Sony could release the PlayStation VR 2 midway through the PS5's life cycle. Just last month, in October, Jim Ryan, the CEO of PlayStation, did an interview with the Washington Post. Here's what he had to say when asked about PlayStation VR. I'll let you hear from Jim himself.
VR will represent a meaningful component of interactive entertainment. Will it be this year? No. Will it be next year? No. But will it come at some stage? We believe that yes, it will.
If you look at the PlayStation 4, it was released in 2013, but the VR headset wasn't released until 3 years after that, in 2016. So if they repeat that with the PlayStation 5, then we could expect to see PlayStation VR in about 2023. The latest news we have is from November 10th. AV Watch, which is a Japanese website, did an interview with Sony's Vice President of Platform Planning and Management. Now, using Google Translate, we got this quote where he said, "I would like to expect PlayStation 5 to have a VR experience suitable for PlayStation 5. Nishino said, quote, "I can't comment any further, but I'd like to expect it." The article notes that Nishino added a laugh at the end of that answer. So in conclusion, I would say it looks pretty good. The evidence points to the fact that they are working on it. When Jim Ryan, the CEO of PlayStation, said that it's not coming out anytime soon, he didn't say it's not coming out at all. And we have so much evidence. We have the fact that they're doing research and development on the controller. We have that video that shows how far along they are. We have the videos of we have the patents from the wireless headsets. So they are working on the PlayStation VR 2. It's just a matter of when. I would say I wouldn't expect it any earlier than 2023. So for now, enjoy your PlayStation 5s. And if there's any new leaks or any rumors that come out or any new information about the PlayStation VR 2, I'll be posting it right here. So if you want to get the latest news on PlayStation VR 2, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Let me know in the comment section if you have the first one and if you're looking forward to the PlayStation VR 2. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Translation, peace, mercy, and blessings. See you guys in the next video.